What is up, YouTube? Back with you today, and this is gonna be actually got tagged in a video by John from Project Ellsworth. Yeah, it's 10 different subgenres of horror. Name movies that you like, maybe your favorite from each of those genres. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, the first category is torture. I'm not a real big fan of the whole torture subgenre. I don't really watch a whole lot of those. I just never really got into it. But I'd have to say probably pick one would be Saw, the first Saw movie. I actually like the first three Saw movies quite a bit. The franchise kind of lost me afterwards, but I'd have to say Saw. Yeah, great twist ending for sure. But yeah, Saw. Okay, question two, category two. I'm sorry. Found footage. I'm gonna have to go with. I know a couple other people have already said this. As above, so below. I think it's a great movie. There's some other found footage movies I could have said. Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch, this and that. But As Above, So Below. Love the story. Takes place underground in Paris. I thought it was a really well-made movie. I've only watched it once, and another time I watched parts of it, but I really enjoy it. I need to add that to my collection, actually. So, yeah, As Above, So Below. Number three, sci-fi. I wanted to. It was a hard choice, but I'm gonna go with The Thing. Love that movie, John Carpenter's, the classic Thing. The what else can you say about that classic? The practical effects to this day still hold up. Every movie should aspire, especially in the special effects department. Watch that movie and go with those. The practicality of the effects. Go practical, not CGI. But the other movie I was thinking about in this category was Phantasm, but it's kind of a mesh of a lot of different genres in horror. It has a sci-fi element, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with The Thing. But I do love me some Phantasm. I actually have that really high on my all-time list. So, but yeah, definitely is The Thing. Number four, Zombie. Now, this is without a doubt. I've told many people this already. The original Dawn of the Dead, 1978. That's actually my all-time favorite zombie movie, or actually my all-time favorite horror movie. Sorry, it's like in my top five list of all-time movies. I absolutely love that movie. I wore VHS copies out as a kid. When I first watched it, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I just fell in love with it. The gore is great. The message that Romero was going for, the whole consumerism deal of how we are actually, being alive, that we're pretty much zombies, kind of to consumerism at the time. Still are today to a certain extent, but yeah, I love the groundbreaking effects from Tom Savini. Love the story. Great story, great characters. The poor people trapped in the mall. And what would you do being if you were in that situation? And I know malls aren't as huge as they were back then, but being trapped in a place like that, surrounded by thousands of zombies, but secure the place, and what would you do in that situation? But yeah, just absolutely love Dawn of the Dead, 1978. George Romero, you're the man. Rest in peace. Thank you for bringing us the Dead series. Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, right up there, right behind Dawn of the Dead, in my opinion. Number five, Vampire. Now, this was another hard one, and I know it's you got to pick one, but I'm gonna put two on here. I can't pick between them which one is my favorite, and that's gonna be Lost Boys and Fright Night, both from the mid '80s. Fright Night, of course, you had the vampire Jerry Dandridge. He was so cool, like the every woman wanted to be with him, every guy wanted to be him, kind of character that he portrayed or he was presented as in the movie. Suave, sophisticated, smart. Loved it, loved the the whole the story of Charlie, the neighbor, the teenager that realized he was a vampire, found out that he's a vampire. Nobody believed him. He was on his own. He went to the Roddy McDowell, you know, Mr. Vincent, the great vampire killer. He wouldn't believe him at first, but then he came to his senses, saw proof that Dandridge was a vampire, and wound up helping him. Great movie. Loved Fright Night and Lost Boys. Another great one. I love the fact, the vampires in it were like punk rock, goth looking, just dirty, not bicycle, bicycle, motorcycle riders, just in your face, brutal. I love Keith Sullivan's portrayal um, of the lead vampire, David, I believe his name was. The two Corys in it, Frog Brothers, were funny. Just a great story, great soundtrack. Can't say enough about both of those vampire movies, so I had to put them both in there. Number 6, Werewolf. I'm going with American Werewolf in London, just ahead of Silver Bullet, but American Werewolf in London. Fell in love with that movie. Saw it when it came out in '81, so I was 4. I think I had to have seen it when I was like 5 years old, because one of my earliest memories of that movie was being scared to death from my dad. I was watching the movie, and where we were living at the time, my bedroom, or I can't remember if it was my bedroom or one of our bedrooms was close to the front room. There's a door separating them. We were sitting there watching the movie. I was all into the movie. My dad, little to my knowledge, snuck off. Went around, and I was sitting on a chair right by that door. And as soon as that scene where I believe it's David, the main character of the movie, had that dream sequence when he's running through the forest, and then he comes up to himself laying on that cot and pops up looking like a zombie or a vampire or something. As soon as that part hit, my dad jumped out of there, grabbed me, and dragged me off into the bedroom to scare me. Oh man, that terrified me. So I always think when I see that part of the movie, I still get chill bumps because of what my dad did to me. It's funny, but I absolutely love that movie. Love his friend, the one that got killed, who keeps coming back to pretty much haunt him and tell him, hey dude, you need to kill yourself or you're going to become a wolf and be a murderer. Absolutely a fantastic movie. Number 7. Now, foreign films. Now, I haven't watched a heck of a lot of foreign horror movies. I love but I'd have to say Train to Busan, it being a zombie movie from South Korea, I thought it was fantastic. Everybody pretty much being stuck on a train during the zombie apocalypse, and the zombies do run in the movie. It's just a great movie. It's a tearjerker. It's very emotional. Some of the guys, sacrificing yourself to save some other lives. Even though you're going to be turned into a zombie, one character in particular. It's just a fantastic movie. A lot of depth and emotion, like I said, and it's pretty much most of the movies it takes place on a train, so that's a very claustrophobic feel to it. So, Train to Busan. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. You won't even mind the subtitles. Number 8, Paranormal. This was another tough one. There's a ton of paranormal movies I like. That's another one of my favorite subgenres. But I could have picked some Paranormal Activity movies. Conjuring, they're all great. Sinister's another, or not Insidious, but my choice is gonna be Sinister. I kind of gave it away. Absolutely love that movie. It's in my top 10 horror movies of all time. Some people seen it, and there's quite a few that haven't seen it, heard about it, but haven't watched it. I've come across. Do yourself a favor, watch that movie. It has such a creepy vibe. Starring Ethan Hawke. He discovers these rolls of film in the house that they just moved into. He's an author, writes books, writes novels. Moved into this house to get some inspiration. Didn't tell his family what had happened in this house. That the whole family had been murdered in this house by a demon. But it's just great, and the score, the kind of the main theme that goes on when the demon's kind of around, or when he's watching these films, these found footage films. A lot of things, some horrible things happening to certain families. That alone, that sound, that score will just make your skin crawl. So yeah, Sinister, I'd put it on the number 8 for the paranormal subgenre. Number 9, Slasher. This was another tough one. I almost put Final Chapter, Friday the 13th on there. Love that movie. That's my favorite Friday the 13th movie of all time. But I'm going to have to go, and a lot of this is a nostalgia, and it's a good slasher, but this is going to be crazy. Halloween 2 from 1981. I picked that one over the original Halloween by a hair. I know Halloween was so iconic and changed the game as far as slasher movies go and horror in general. But Halloween 2, the kill count went up definitely. It was more bloody. He had 9 or 10 kills in that movie. It's just the atmosphere of that movie. I loved it. I love the hospital setting. I know it is people complain about it being slow paced from time to time, but I don't mind that. But it gives a more creepy vibe to me, especially that soundtrack with the synth score. The synth was added to the soundtrack from the original, so it kind of just, to me, it bumped that score up tenfold for me. I love the synth score. That's my favorite score of the franchise too. Is Part 2. Of course I love, the third act is great. The chase, him chasing Lori through the hospital, Loomis showing up, then the whole explosion. Loomis sacrificing himself to save Lori. To blow him and Michael up. And I think they could have ended. I mean, I love the Halloween franchise. Don't get me wrong; it's my favorite slasher franchise. But if they ended it after Part 2, I think that'd have been a perfect 2-movie set right there. So, Halloween 2 from 1981. Put it number 9 in my slasher category. All right, and finally number 10, Home Invasion, and that's another one that was hard to pick. I love Strangers. I haven't seen Strangers Pray at Night, but I haven't. But Strangers is great. Last House on the Left is pretty controversial, but I'm gonna go with a movie I don't know if a lot of people have seen. It's called Hush. Another home invasion movie, and the actress, the lead in it, she actually is deaf in the movie, so it makes it even more paranoid as a viewer watching it. See this guy in a mask stalking her outside, and it's kind of hard to explain if you haven't seen it really. So I don't want to give too much of it away because I know a lot of people haven't seen it. I think you can find it. I watched it on Amazon Prime a year or two ago. I absolutely love it. So check it. It's not even a real long movie. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, I believe. It's a quick. It gets right down to it. The storyline. So, but yeah, like I said, the lady, she's deaf, so she's got to maneuver her way around of trying to survive while not being able to hear. So, yeah, Hush. But yeah, so that's my top, my 10. I mean, some of the movies on here might not be my favorite of all time of certain categories, but ones I recommend to people to watch for sure. And so yeah, it's a tag video, and I got tagged by Project Ellsworth, John from Project Ellsworth. Great guy, great content. Go over and check his channel out if you haven't. I'm sure you have though. He's almost to 1,000 subscribers, so go check him out. I'm going to try to leave a link in my description box below. And I'm going to go ahead and tag a couple of YouTubers myself. One is going to be Hobbs Horror. Josh, if you ever come across this video, hopefully you will. I'm going to tag you in it, buddy. So Hobbs Horror. And my other tag is going to be Have Cheetah Will View. So Patrick, I'm going to tag you in this. So the 10 subgenres of horror. Pick a movie out of each genre and let's talk about it. So yeah, so Have Cheetah Review, Hobbs Horror, you guys are tagged. And so as everybody else, just please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. And I've actually put up a link for my letterbox, and I am also on Instagram. So just follow me on those two avenues as well. But yeah, so that's my top 10 subgenres of horror movies. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Be blessed, and Big Daddy J out.